Paul, congratulations on the new opportunity to skipper the Minnesota Twins. Has to be a really exciting time for you and your family.
Good morning to you guys, and it certainly is very exciting. And I'm not in front of a TV, and I didn't know what the heck you guys were doing for the intro, but now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. But yeah, my family, myself, couldn't be more grateful and really looking forward to getting this thing going.
Hey, Paul, how long you had your eye on possibly managing?
Harold, it's one of those things that it's kind of been on my brain even when I was still playing. If it was something or an avenue that I would choose to pursue someday. A lot of things happened along the way that have prevented me from being more active in a search for this position. But, about 4 or 5 years ago, after working for the Twins for a number of years, I kind of resigned myself to the fact that if it's ever going to happen, it's going to be here. We're locked into the community. I love the organization. Wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but, finally came up this year.
Hey, Paul, it's Ken Rosenthal. Congratulations.
Hey, Ken.
Was wondering, you've been a coach. You've obviously played a long time. You know the demands that go into this job. How difficult was it for you to come to grips with, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be all in, and it's an all-consuming kind of thing?
Obviously, that's one of the things that you have to, examine the depths of your soul, that, this is not something that you just kind of say, well, let's see if it works out. It's you have to, as you mentioned, you have to be all in. You have to be willing to make the sacrifices in your personal life to make it happen. And I think that, I was waiting at the end of the season, like everybody, what were they going to do with our manager and our coaching staff? And when they went to change, that's when I got together with my wife and said, we got to make a decision. Are we going to be all in? And that's where we landed. It feels right to me. I spent a lot of time in prayer about it, to be quite honest with you, and I just felt really peaceful about this as the direction I'm supposed to go.
Hey, Paul, so often, with the status you're at now, being a Hall of Famer, people worry about, well, someday this job may come to an end. It's our own local Hall of Fame guy, especially you being from St. Paul there.
Right.
Did that ever factor in? Did you ever talk to any of your Hall of Fame colleagues about this, your brethren, I should say?
Well, I've talked to Ryan about his position, and, he put in his time in the minor leagues, and he worked his way up, and this was something he obviously wanted to do very, very badly, and it's worked out where he's got the job in Philadelphia. And I haven't had a chance to talk to some other people that, Frank Robinson, for example, people like that, but, they try to make a big deal about, whether Hall of Famers, so to speak, can manage or be patient enough to be managed and all those kind of things. It's just kind of case to case. If it's what your passion is and what you feel that your gift set is, that you can do that. For me, it's something like we talked about earlier, Harold. I felt like I wanted to do this for a long time, and now I got to have the opportunity.
Okay, I'm sorry, Matt. Let's talk hitting real quick because, you had 3,000-plus hits, and you've been a hitting coach. You've been watching what's happening in this game, all the strikeouts. What's going on? I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, I listened to you guys break that down, so I think you got a pretty good grip on it. For whatever reason, we in my mind, we've kind of lost our way in regards to the punch out. There's just so many opportunities when I think that guys with some simple adjustments could give themselves a chance to put the ball in play, and when that happens, obviously you have a better chance of something good for your team. But I think there's some of the mindset that these guys feel like they're going to get paid for the long ball or hitting home runs. That unfortunately, for a lot of guys, the strikeouts continue to pile, but we're not getting the return on the other end. So we're going to work on it here. I think 2 years ago, we set a record for strikeouts for the history of the franchise, and last year we weren't too far behind. So it's something that Tom Bernansky, our hitting coach, is certainly aware of, and we're going to try to do what we can to make that a little bit better around here.
Hey, Paul, it's a cliched question, but I'm still really curious as to your answer. You played for so many great managers in your playing career, George Bamberger and Harvey Keene, Phil Garner in Milwaukee, and Tom Kelly and Cito Gaston. I mean, were there one or two moments with any of those managers that remain poignant for you in your new life in baseball?
I don't know about particular moments. I think that I was able to absorb a little bit from all those guys from being a young kid in the Milwaukee clubhouses with guys like George and Harvey, and then, of course, Cito Gaston. I just kind of referred to him as a man's man. It was just the way he carried himself and brought respect to wearing that uniform up in Toronto. But my time here in Minnesota, I think, watching Tom Kelly manage, I learned a lot, even at the latter stages of my career, just because he had a different way of breaking the game down, a different way he saw things, a different way he tried to orchestrate a game from the back to the front as opposed from the front to the back. And just a lot of things that I learned from watching these kind of guys. And, of course, Gardy, I've been around forever, and we all know the mark that he left in this organization. So I can't say particular moments. It's just been kind of a combination of being around those type of people.
All right, so you're a young player in the Twins organization. You go to spring training. What's spring training with Paul Molitor going to be like?
Well, it's going to be a lot of work, and hopefully it's a lot of fun. And we're going to make sure that guys pay attention to detail. I think little things matter. And, we're going to have some young guys in our camp that potentially have a chance to be really good players. You guys all know about Sano and Buxton and those type of people. So, we're gonna need to make an impression, and what it's going to take for our organization, both at the top tier, and the guys are going to try to make an impact in the future of what we're going to expect for them. I'm looking for ball players. I like guys that can do things. If a guy's got power, a guy can run, but I like guys that can do everything. That's just kind of something that I'm going to try to mold.
Is there, being a young player, and you were in the big leagues at such a young age, you sit there and say, hey, I know that I got through it, so therefore the door's open for Buxton to maybe make the club out of spring?
I might feel like I want him on my team going out of spring, but I don't know if that'll happen. We all know that sometimes, guys can make impressions down there. And with his lack of playing time due to injury this year, I think that it's almost a lock that won't happen. You can never say never, obviously.
Yeah.
But, so we'll kind of let those things play out. But I'm just excited to see those guys get on the field and watch them do their thing.
Paul, we really appreciate the time this morning. I know that folks in the Twin Cities are just thrilled with the fact that you're in charge there, and we wish you nothing but success here and a long, deep run as a manager with the Minnesota Twins.
All right, gentlemen. You guys have a great day out there.